Get ready for that football show with those fantasy guys.
Hello, welcome to that football show with those fantasy guys.
And we are those fantasy guys.
We certainly are. Welcome to the week number 7 edition of that football show with those fantasy guys, better known as TFSJ, hashtag trending. What's going on this week?
This isn't what's trending, Rick. This is what is not trending nationally. And I cannot even believe this. I can't wrap my mind around it. I've looked at NFL.com, ESPN. I watch PTI on the regular. Fox, nothing. There needs to be an investigation soon. I'm going to ask you, as a frustrated Aaron Rodgers owner, how long has Aaron Rodgers been struggling?
Since Jordy Nelson got hurt.
Since Jordy Nelson got hurt. How has he been doing since Jordy Nelson got back?
The same as when Jordy Nelson wasn't there.
Okay, so that's interesting. If we go back, how long ago was Spygate?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It was quite a while ago. And during that time, we found out two things. Number one, besides the organized cheating of the Patriots, that the NFL moving forward was going to do random spot checks of the pressure in footballs. And number two, that Aaron Rodgers admitted he likes his balls overinflated. So now that his balls cannot be overinflated,
That's interesting.
Aaron Rodgers is struggling. I'm not saying there's anything here. I'm just saying there's a lot of dots, and you can connect them if you want.
The person who is not connecting the dots is Aaron Rodgers. I agree with you that something needs to happen. I think there might need to be a coaching change up in Green Bay.
A coaching change for a Super Bowl winning NFL coach.
Well, here's the thing, Jay.
One of the only NFL coaches that's over 50 games over 500.
Follow me now. Aaron Rodgers is a 2-time NFL MVP,
Okay.
2-time Super Bowl champ, or just one?
Just one.
And the guy has the lowest completion rating almost in the league. Brian Hoyer, Kirk Cousins, the list goes on and on of subpar B-level quarterbacks who are outplaying him on a weekly basis.
Oh, I can get right to that. Those are B-level quarterbacks that can't dictate PSI in their balls, and the guy that can has to play with balls that are underinflated for him. Just saying.
It's a possibility, of course.
I'm just saying, think about it. Can't believe it hasn't been brought up before.
Neither can I, actually, now that you bring it up. But the last thing I want to do is think about Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Because he has given me the shaft big time. So let's move on to key injuries, and let's hope Aaron Rodgers is on this list. Is he
Wow,
there?
that was
Is
aggressive.
he there? Is he there? He's not there. But you know who is there? Both of his running backs. Jay, Carson Palmer, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Eddie Lacy, James Starks, Carlos Hyde, LaShawn McCoy, Jordan Matthews, Terrell Pryor, Jordan Reed, Dwayne Allen, Antonio Gates. Big names in week number 7 on the injury list. Who jumps out at you? I think I know where you're going.
Oh, two people jump out at me. Number one, Ben Roethlisberger, a top 3 to 5 quarterback whose absence affects a top 3 to 5 wide receiver and a top 3 to 5 running back.
Absolutely.
Number one.
Yep.
Number two, LaShawn McCoy. What do those two people have in common?
They're both hurt.
Playing the Patriots in the next couple of weeks. Could things fall any better for the Patriots? The best player, most important
They
player on
must
the
be cheating.
Steelers out. Best player on the Bills possibly out. I mean, the stars are aligning for the Pats.
Yeah, I guess so. But I will tell you that running back situation in Green Bay really stands out to me because I think that one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers is struggling is because of the lack of a running game. Eddie Lacy hasn't looked the same in many seasons now, maybe 2.5.
Please do not tell my fiance that.
I know she's a big fan of Eddie Lacy, but he just appears to be not motivated. Let's put it that way.
Or hungry.
No, he does not look hungry at all.
No, he appears to be hungry.
No, he does not look hungry at all.
Yeah, how did that come out wrong?
No, I don't know, but he's overweight. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. Take it from a fat guy. But something might get sparked there with the addition of Niles Davis, who we're not going to talk about on the show.
Amazingly enough, because what a great addition he has, a lot of potential, a lot of upside. Nothing's going to happen this week with Niles Davis. They're on the short week. They just traded for him, but he's not on our Wall Street, but you can buy him low now.
but he's not there because the entire country's talking about him.
Right.
And that's what we don't do here. We don't tell you the obvious. We give you the guys that aren't so obvious, that you need to do a little research on. Let's move on to those guys in our first segment, the hunt for Red October.
Finding the ultimate sub.
Fantastic. Jay, last week, did you find an ultimate sub?
Oh, last week I just knocked it out of the park. I've been doing it all year. Last week I told you Marcus Mariota was your sneaky start, your hunt for Red October, someone that you could plug in if you had somebody, say like Aaron Rodgers, who's struggling. You could put in Marcus Mariota, and I don't know, would you like 17 out of 24 for 283 yards and 3 touchdowns
I would love
on a
that.
on a start? When you have Aaron Rodgers and he's not working, or you have someone that's hurt, I mean, you can do a lot worse than 3 touchdowns out of a quarterback.
It was a great call, and I appreciate it greatly because it comes in a great segment on TFS. My call last week, I had gone with a couple quarterbacks in a row. I wanted to branch out, try new things, so I grabbed a wide receiver. I went with Michael Thomas last week. 5 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown in the game where Drew Brees just obliterated the NFL. And so that was a good start. He's owned, I think, still only like 60% of leagues. This is a guy you can still go out and catch. Now, that's 3 touchdowns, 3 weeks in a row for Michael Thomas. He certainly looks like the number 2 wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. That was a great start for you. And both of these guys, like you just said, can be owned in many leagues. Hopefully you listened to us before they had these big weeks, because you probably can't get them now. And if you did get them, these are people that you can spot start,
right,
and or start. Like, obviously you can't start Mariota in a flex, but you can spot start him. And Thomas, you can start.
Michael Thomas is a flex start all year, and
Yep.
maybe a number 2.
Yep.
Depending on the matchup and whether or not they play at home. Let's move on to this week, Jay. How do you follow that up?
Well, like you said, we want to talk about people that you haven't heard of. We want to talk about people before the nation's talking about them. I got somebody right now, his name is Chris Conley, wide receiver, St. Louis Rams, versus the dreadful Saints defense. We know the Saints defense is terrible. They're going on the road, so the offense might not help them out. So the Saints offense might put the Saints defense in peril. It's time for Conley's coming out party, and the Saints D sending the RSVPs.
Beautiful. Jay, this week I am going with a guy that we mentioned on my favorite segment, Buy Low, Sell High, a few weeks ago. He was a lottery ticket. He was one of the guys that we named in a list of running backs, Jacquez Rodgers. We told you to go out and add him if you had a roster spot. Now, since we told you that 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, all Rodgers done was he touched the ball 39 times for 129 yards last week on Thursday Night Football. This week, Rodgers gets the start for the Bucks. Woo! Playing a 49ers team that just allowed. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, because I hate the 49ers.
This is in 1 game, Jay. This isn't 3 games or a quarter of a season. In 1 game, they gave up 200 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns in 1 game. Now, Jacquez Rodgers, who got 39 touches against a good defense, gets a terrible defense in San Francisco. This could be a monster day for Jacquez Rodgers, and owned in only 50% of the leagues. That means that half of you who can hear my voice can go out and add this guy right now. This might be the best matchup we have ever had on Sneaky Star / Hunt for the Red October. The matchup here is phenomenal. This is a guy you can add off the wire, plug in as a number 2, and has a very good chance to go over 100 yards and score multiple rushing touchdowns. After they gave up 5 rushing touchdowns last week, I think it's glaringly obvious from this point forward, if you have a running back or can get a running back that's playing that 49ers defense, you start him.
And the great thing about this call, I love it. I loved it when it happened. I love watching the game. I love the results. But the great thing about this call is they just said when we were driving in here, I heard that there's no timetable on the return of Doug Martin.
Right.
So if you pick this guy up when you told people to, this is a guy you might be able to ride for a few weeks moving forward.
Yeah, and a good schedule down the stretch
Yep.
for the run.
They get the Saints twice
Right.
in the playoffs. People are trying to trade me for Mike Evans, and I'm like, there's no way because I'm playing the Saints twice in the last 3 weeks of the season.
Now, if you saw the show and in the past and you didn't listen to us during Wall Street Buy Low, Sell High, you have another opportunity because we do it every week, and here it comes this week. Jay, we're going a little out of order this week because I'm so excited. So tell me about Wall Street, and then we'll get back to tough sits. Who do you have this week on Wall Street?
Well, we've been talking a lot lately about buying your lottery tickets now so you can cash them in during the fantasy playoffs. I got somebody that's number one, not owned like 4% of leagues. I don't even think it's that much. But somebody during the offseason, when he signed with this team, I was so excited. I have a good friend of mine, Nark, that's a huge Steelers fan. When Ladarius Green signed with the Steelers, I hit him up. I was like, Nark, you're going to love this guy. He's going to be a weapon to be added to the arsenal for Ben Roethlisberger. He's been on the designated to return IR all season. He has migraines. I think there's something with a leg or a knee or something like that. Either way, this guy is 6'6". He can run like a deer. When you have Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell that defenses need to account for, and I don't know, some guy we might have mentioned before, Sammy Coates, this is going to let Ladarius Green, if he's able to get on the field, he is going to run wild away from linebackers. He's going to run wild over safeties trying to cover him. He could have the standout second half of fantasy football that you've ever seen. Get him now while the getting's good, because Ben Roethlisberger is not playing this week, so nobody's looking at any weapons on the Steelers. People are talking about sitting weapons on the Steelers, but I'm telling you to add this weapon because Roethlisberger is coming back. The Steelers have the elite offense in the NFL, and this could be a huge chip for you in the fantasy football playoffs.
Yeah, I love this pick because tight end is a very tough position this year. There's not a lot going on there. This guy was great in San Diego. He's going to be great with the Steelers. There's also a bye week in there. So you can get this guy for literally nothing. So if you've got a roster spot and you need tight end help, this is a guy you can get. I'm on board with this one. Jay, I'm going to go with Mike Galissi this week in my buy low. Now, this guy has a chance, if LaShawn McCoy doesn't play this week, to become fantasy relevant overnight. You just saw a long touchdown there, one of 5 given up by the San Francisco 49ers last week. That was against Dallas. I'm sorry.
That's all right, because this guy does have a bunch of touchdowns backing up Shady.
But he had a touchdown last week. He's
Yep.
got a touchdown in back-to-back weeks in relief of LaShawn McCoy when he gets a little tired. If LaShawn McCoy's hammy is tight and LaShawn McCoy can't go this week, because of the way that the Buffalo Bills want to play football, they want to run the ball, they want to play defense, this guy turns into a number 1 fantasy running back immediately. That's right, I said it. A number 1 fantasy running back. This is a guy that if you have a roster spot open, you can take another lottery ticket, a la Jacquez Rodgers, and stash him. And if something happens, there's a lot of wear and tear on LaShawn McCoy. He's not a spring chicken, and he's seen a bunch of touches this year. Not only that, but he almost left the game last week with what looked like a very serious injury. While he was gone, Mike Galissi comes in and runs for a touchdown, a long touchdown. This is a guy that has talent to spare and just needs an opportunity. He's a great buy low candidate.
I agree with you on a number of parts of this. The number 1 part I agree with, buying low on this guy because of a hamstring to LaShawn McCoy. Hamstrings can last weeks,
right.
Weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
This guy might be your ticket for the next 3 or 4 weeks until LaShawn McCoy is healthy. So he might be something that you can start beyond this week, might start this week and beyond this week for the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And if you're not needy at running back, maybe you're one of the lucky few out there, but you can land this guy and something happens to LaShawn McCoy, this is a guy that you can get top dollar for from a McCoy owner because that owner has been relying on LaShawn McCoy over the last couple of weeks to win him games. Let's move on. Like I said, out of order, but here we go. Tough sits.
Sit down, Waldo.
Well, last week, I knocked out the Hunt for Red October, and last week I also told you in the tough sit segment, sit Carlos Hyde, ding, 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 the TFS alert, West Coast teams at the 1 o'clock game, watch out for them. Carlos Hyde, 14 carries, 52 yards.
Against the Cubs.
While getting routed by the Bills. So Carlos Hyde, hopefully you went another way. Hopefully you started your guy that you just mentioned instead of him.
Yeah, right. So last week, Jay, I told you to sit down Andrew Luck. You should have sat down Aaron Rodgers too. But I told you to sit down Aaron Luck because he wasn't going to have a good game. He was 21 of 32 for 252 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a good day.
How many touchdowns?
Not what you're looking for.
How many touchdowns?
From Andrew Luck. We have gone over this, Jay.
2 touchdowns.
Where we have gone over this. When I am talking about a quarterback, I'm talking about passing touchdowns. When I'm talking about a running back, I'm talking about rushing touchdowns. When I'm talking about a wide receiver or a tight end, I'm talking about receiving touchdowns.
And that's why
Luck,
you come to me, because I'm talking about all of the points in fantasy football.
Andrew Luck also had a rushing touchdown, which saved his day. However, you cannot rely on Andrew Luck to supply you with rushing touchdowns week after week. I told you to sit him down because of his passing performance, which is not what you expect from an Andrew Luck.
Colts suck, ride Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I heard you last week. Let's move on to this week, Jay. Who do you got in your tough sit segment?
This week, we've mentioned him already, but I'm going right at Drew Brees. Drew Brees has 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and 4 touchdowns at home this year. On the road, 2 touchdowns and 1 touchdown. This week, Brees is heading into Kansas City, and I'm going to tell you right now, I already told you who the best player on the field is going to be. That's Chris Conley. The Chiefs defense is going to give the Saints all kinds of trouble. It's a natural grass field. They like to run on those indoor tracks. If you have another option, if you have Marcus Mariota, I would play him this week over Drew Brees.
Ooh, that's a tough sit. I'll tell you what, though, you are absolutely right. It is a fantasy football phenomenon that Drew Brees just can't get it down on the road for some reason. He's just a different guy.
He is.
And we've seen it year after year. I don't expect anything to change. I like the pick. Might have to go shopping for a quarterback in one of my leagues. This week, I've got Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown was going to be my sit anyway before Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. What people don't know is that we shoot this show on Wednesday. You and I typically write our scripts on Monday night into Tuesday morning. At that time, Ben Roethlisberger's status was not known. I was going to sit down Antonio Brown because they're playing the Patriots. And the one thing that the Patriots do is stop the one thing that you do, or the one thing that you want to do. And it's very clear that the Pittsburgh Steelers want to get Antonio Brown the ball. So the Patriots' main focus this week was going to be shutting down Antonio Brown, regardless of Ben Roethlisberger's on the field or not. He was going to be my tough sit. Now he's a must sit. We've seen it before. I last year went out on a limb and told you to start Landry, the backup quarterback. I paid dearly for that decision. Sit Antonio Brown because Landry against the Patriots is nothing like Roethlisberger against the rest of the NFL.
I agree. I think it's a good call. That's all I got.
Thank you very much for that affirmation. Jay, let's move on to
Facebook question.
Thank you very much. Help! We need help. We need more help than you know. I need to start 2. Giovanni Bernard, D. Booker, who's the backup running back for the Denver Broncos, Spencer Ware, or Jay Ajayi.
All right, this is...
this comes from Nick Parozada. Sorry, Nick.
All right, Nick. Booker, no good. Giovanni Bernard has a pretty juicy matchup, but Spencer Ware and Ajayi are the guys to go to right now. Somehow, with Jamal Charles coming back, Spencer Ware has held on to the #1 spot. Yeah. And until he gives that up, you're going to ride that #1 back. Oh, wait a minute. Did we just mention who are they? Oh, right. They're playing the Saints. He's probably going to have 3 touchdowns. And then Ajayi, after a guy has 200 yards, I bet typically they have a little bit of a fall off. But this guy has had a year and a half to get those 200 yards. I swear it's only 200 yards he's got in his whole career. And Arian Foster ain't taking that job back. I think Ajayi is going to be a nice young running back. If you have him, if you picked him up recently, I think you have a guy. They're going to have to ride that guy. You cannot count on Arian Foster. Have you seen anything in the past 2 years? And if you give Ajayi, he scored that touchdown in overtime a couple of weeks ago. He had this huge week last week.
Yeah,
I think he's a running back on the come.
Back-to-back weeks with touchdowns. I think Ajayi has a good shot at 100 yards and a touchdown. Like you said, Spencer Ware is the obvious other running back on that list. Good luck, Nick. Let's move on to weekly leagues. Jay, let me have the weekly league for week number 7.
This week, it's almost a gimme. We have 2 things. A stud wide receiver that is glaringly underperforming, and we have a stud wide receiver going against the terrible, terrible, terrible Oakland Raiders defense. If you can get Allen Robinson at a bargain basement price based on his current production, you are going to get great results to balance your team and build your team around. Go sign Allen Robinson at a good price and watch him rack up the points. If you have him on your roster, don't trade him yet because his value is about to take a big spike.
Thanks for the advice, because I am this close to jumping off the ledge in one of my fantasy football leagues. That is all the time we have for the week number 7 edition of That Football Show with those fantasy guys.
And we are those fantasy guys. Good luck. Hang in there. The playoffs are right around the corner, and we'll help you get there.
Righto. We'll see you next week, everybody. Good luck.